All right. We are back for another one, an open court discussion in the counselor's corner. I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the controversial counselor. Joining me is Miss Anita, and the big bad wolf will be joining shortly. And as of late, we will wait and see who else joins the panel. If you're trying to join, step it up and join the fun. Recap from Monday's show: 40 and over, single, degreed up, independent, and now looking for a sperm donor. Very insightful conversation that stood out, such as 2% of sperm donors are black males. Black women may need to choose another race to have a child with because of the low numbers of black male donors, and some donors have child support orders against them. Now, ain't that a bitch? Okay, moving right along, let's look at tonight's topic: the lies being told by women. I don't do anything to impress men. I do everything for myself. I dress for myself. I wear makeup for myself. They do everything for themselves without a single thought of a guy. Well, personally, I think that notion is a bunch of bullshit because both genders do a lot to try to impress each other, and we will go further on shortly. Also, we never fully covered number two from Monday show, so I would like to go back and cover that topic. Why does it seem like there is an age requirement for women to hold her man down if necessary? Okay, we will stick with these two talking points, which should be good enough, with more talking points to come for future broadcasts. Please like and share our video. Bring a friend to share with a friend to subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. So here we have it. What's going on with you, Anita? Anything new?
Nothing new. I burnt up some chicken today. I was
Wow.
trying to make something new,
Okay.
and I burnt it up like some little dark black cookies.
And just fell asleep while you was cooking.
But I made I recovered by making homemade chicken soup.
Okay. All righty. Guess you ain't trying to impress no man with that.
Not today.
Mm.
Oh my gosh,
Going on with you, Herb? Big bad
man!
wolf.
These bums on Facebook are acting up again, man. I made a joke with another person about potentially kidnapping somebody and holding them for ransom because that was part of what the post was. Now, mind you, this is about a week ago. Don't you know these bums just get around to restricting my account now? Also, they were trying to do it for another reason, for another post when I said I have never seen the movie of 50 Shades of Grey. They running wild, man. Somebody need to do something. Elon, come by Facebook, man. They tripping over here.
Need to watch 50 Shades of Grey.
Mm.
The point of the statement was I had just never seen the movie. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just like anybody else saying they've never seen the movie. How is that derogatory or inflammatory? If somebody never seen the movie Roots, are they actually going to restrict their account? Because that's essentially what they're saying, tongue in cheek. They're not going to come right out and say it. So if somebody's never seen the movie, either one of the Red Tails or Tuskegee Airmen, are they going to ban their account? And they say it. But if I say I've never seen Schindler's List, they're going to ban me. They're ridiculous, man. They're ridiculous. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, they're getting crazy. It's a lot. It's a lot going on in this world. There's a lot of drama going on.
Yeah,
Lots
there's.
of drama. Lots of drama. But for me, it's same old thing with the school, but this kid's getting out of hand. These kids are really getting out of hand. Like the latest, as they say, they come in and drop the T on me. And the latest thing they're doing, and I have posted this, jumping people and then making them strip. So, and it ain't even for possessions or stuff like that. I think it's just for embarrassment and to film it. And they actually showed me one of the videos, and I'm like, wow. And I instantly became upset and kind of sad for that person. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, jumping somebody, and they literally have to damn near walk home. Well, he might have had his shirt on, but he was damn near butt ass naked. And now he he's on social media, and that'll pretty much be held over his head. And this is a high school kid, but he went to my middle school. So then I think they did the same thing to a girl at one point, and then they were showing me some fights this over this weekend, and they were trying to promote for them to make that other person strip down. So I don't. It's just getting out of hand, and I fear that somebody's going to get seriously hurt.
Oh,
Seriously
do
hurt.
believe that type of nonsense? Oh yeah,
So
oh yeah.
for even not so much, yeah, I'm pretty sure none of my parents are watching this, but parents overall, be mindful what your kids are doing out there. Be mindful who they're hanging out with. Be mindful who are the parents of those children. Uh, it's a different world than when we were brought up. Like, these kids are treacherous. And one of our other schools just found. I just had got an alert that a 14-year-old had got caught with a loaded gun in school, not at my school, but one of the schools. So it's getting crazy out here. How they getting all these firearms and different things, don't know, but they taking it to another level, and all for probably likes and views and different things like that. They quick to do that and to embarrass and to degrade somebody like that. That's just real savage like. But and it's scary that, like I told one of my students, I said, you don't want to live knowing that you got enemies. Like, that's not a good way to feel, or just to always be kind of watching over your back. You can't go to the mall, you can't go to the store. You always got to feel like you got to have a crew of people with you because you got people after you. It's not a good way to live, especially at a young age, 12, 13 years old. You're supposed to be, I don't know, playing freaking double dutch, hot scotch and all that crap, whatever. And y'all out here filming people naked. All right, that's that.
That's just different, man. that's I can't even wrap my head around that, man. That's and usually and that's the problem that you have when you have smaller families, especially if you come from a family where there's only one boy and one girl, and there's a significant age difference, like 3 or 4 years, which may not seem like a significant difference to adults. But when you're in school versus first grade versus fifth grade, that's very significant because you're more than likely not to have the same group of friends. So you don't have anybody there that offers a buffer or a layer of protection. And that's how they do. They isolate you, and they'll get in these gangs, and I've seen it. And they'll start to pick on you, or they'll pick on the prospective mark or the student. And next thing you know, they end up in a situation similar to what Dave was talking about. And there's really little that the school district can do unless they're alerted ahead of time. And because most of these kids don't want to be looked at as tattletales or thinking they're strong enough, they end up waiting too late. And that's unfortunate for those who become victims of essentially mob violence and the power grab. Because ultimately, that's all it is. You got a lot of these kids that feel like they can't do anything. So let me go pick on somebody else so I can demonstrate the power and the authority I have over them. When all they're doing is really setting themselves up to become a victim of some violence that they never really considered. So it's unfortunate. It really is.
Yeah, so it's getting bad, and as I always say, like I said last week, when it hits November, December, not only with kids, with adults, you probably see a spike in violence and crimes and robberies and different things of that nature. So just got to be on the alert and just got to be mindful again of who your children are with. Monitor their social media access and just be on the lookout. And you just can't say go outside and play anymore like that without
Yeah.
having any idea where they're at or who they're hanging out with, because it's a lot of weirdos in this world.
And it's funny you say that. Without giving too much away, I went to snatch up, my favorite pastime, and it's a couple other things. And I saw a young student in there, without giving away the gender or the ethnicity. And the individual was reading some things off of the shelf, mispronounced them, I correct them. And as I got to cashing out, I said to the individual, I said, shouldn't that individual be in school right now? It was 12 noon. As far as I know, Niagara Falls School District didn't have an off day today. So I was just curious. But, that's the type of thing that I'm hypersensitive to, because that hurts the development of the child. It hurts them academically. It hurts them personally because they're not around their peer groups. And then parents wonder why their kids start to talk back to them when they get to be teenagers. Just something I picked up today.
And it reminds me of, this was years ago. And I think I was in Niagara Falls visiting, and it might have been on a Friday, and I had stopped to get some food. And I remember this one young lady was saying, and she went to, she was in the high school level, and she was like, yeah, they keep calling me about my attendance and stuff like that because I haven't been going to school. And then she was like, she was like, excuse my language. She's like, what the fuck do I look like getting up in the morning to go to school for? For what? Like, kind of like, what do they have to offer me that I'm going to get out my bed to go to school? And I'm sitting there like, just like, let me mind my business. And,
Yeah.
just let it be, but just take it in. And I'm like, wow. And I said, it's probably a lot of kids. A lot of kids feel that way. It's a lot of kids that feel that way. She just happened to be one that obviously didn't have no one to kind of push her to go to school or whatever the situation is. But I just thought that was wild. Like, damn. All right. Big discussions. Thanks for joining us. Pragmatic Prime. Thanks for joining us. So that's that. Kind of touch on that. I always try to give, try to get some insightful information on day to day, just stuff that's going on in the schoolhouse or out in the community. And I'm definitely not going to get into all the other drama with the Kanyes and the Kyries and all of that stuff. That's a lot in itself right there. A whole lot going on.
Yeah, they are. I'll put that like this. People, for those to whom this apply, it's time to start mobilizing and creating your own. That's all I'm gonna say. Once you get beyond their reach, they can't touch you.
And it's definitely something that's been promoted over the years that everybody need to do for self and start building their own, because it could be taken away from you just like that quickly. And I'm just going everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what's going on as far as that. So we're gonna keep it moving with tonight's topic: the lies that women tell. I'm so sick of hearing this or seeing this, that women really truly act like they don't do anything to try to impress man at all. I don't know where this came from, but it just seems like now it's all over on social media. You see, I don't do nothing for that. I do this because of for myself. Got to talk about that. What's y'all take on that? I think it's bull crap.
I'm sorry. Say that. Repeat that, Dave. I'm sorry.
with the notion of, as you see on a regular basis, of women saying that they don't do anything to try to impress men. Everything they do is for themselves. They wearing makeup is for themselves. The way they dress is for themselves. Like men are not even in the equation at all. And I think it's bullcrap.
It is
Well,
bull crap sometimes. I mean, it depends on are you talking about on a date or just like going to the bar?
These people, when they comment, they mean pretty much anything. Like it's the furthest thing from their mind. Like they
Like
don't.
going to Walmart?
I'm
The
not saying
people of Walmart?
I'm not saying Walmart. I'm just saying overall. We could say if you were going out to an event that most people, many people would say, I want to look nice. If you got someone, that's a different story. But if you're single, I'm pretty sure you're throwing on something because you might want to catch the eye of someone, unless you just got out of a relationship and you don't want to be bothered. But for the most part, I think people like other people's attention.
I mean,
Opposite sex, same sex, or whatever.
I think that's true in some cases.
We're not
Like
dealing with
if
absolutes. We know it ain't 100%, but the way some of these people be responding and talking, like it's not even a remote chance.
I think that's BS. When I go out, I want to look presentable, at least presentable. But if I'm going on a date, of course I'm gonna try to look my best. I don't know if it's really I don't know if impress is the right word, but I want to look my best. I don't want to look all raggedy. There's a certain way that I carry myself, and I like to carry myself in public versus if I'm just home hanging out with Herb and his pizza and his cats.
let's
But I think we did have I think it was a post that women dress for other women.
yes.
I think in my opinion on that, I personally don't. I'm not catty like that. So if I see another woman dress, if I like her shoes, her hair, her nails, whatever, I give compliments to men and women when I'm in public. If I like your shirt, I'm like, "Hey, where'd you get that shirt?" Or that color looks nice on you, whatever. But as far as dressing for other women, I personally don't. I know when I feel like I look good, I feel good. So whether that attracts somebody or not, whether if I'm single, of course I want to look decent in a certain way out in public. Not trashy, but as far as impressing, then I would say maybe that's not the word. I would say look nice.
That's weak. That word is just too weak.
You know, this is the thing. Women do, and I want people to understand where I'm going with this. Women do dress for each other. Justice. It's a competition between those two, or between the ones that do it, to draw the best possible mate that they can. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't wear makeup. They wouldn't wear half of the undergarments that they do. They wouldn't go to the hair salon as often as they do. Think about all the things that a female on the upper echelon of society does. And when you do that, think about why she does it. Women aren't supermodels for other women. Women don't buy high heels for other women. Women don't buy lace underwear for other women.
I sure don't.
The underwriting tone is they do it for men. Women will tell you they helps them feel good, boost their self-esteem. For who? For what? Why do you need to boost your self-esteem if you're around women?
I think
I've never. Go ahead.
go ahead.
I've never heard of another man lifting weights so he can look good in front of another man. I've never heard of a man going out to earn money to look good for another man. I've never heard of a man going out buying a tuxedo, keeping in good shape for another man. Lipstick is worn for what purpose?
To make my lips stand out.
Nah. Try again. Think lower. Think lower. We're going to get after dark early. What is lipstick worn for?
To make my lips stand out. That's
Try
why
again.
I wear it.
No, I'm
I
not.
ain't trying
No.
again. That's why I wear it.
Women wear lipstick to mimic an excited vulva. That's the basis of lipstick. See, a lot of women don't understand the reason why they're wearing makeup. For people that don't understand certain things, I want y'all to go watch the movie Memoirs of a Geisha Girl. That's your platform on which to start building your knowledge on why certain things occur. Before women started wearing high heels, guess who wore them?
Men.
Correct. Because men wanted to appear taller because women are attracted to taller men.
That's true.
All of this stuff that women claim they don't do, they don't have a base knowledge of why it's done.
I think some people do. Come on.
No, I'm saying the ones that claim that they don't dress a certain way. Not the ones that understand it, the ones that don't have a clue. That's the equivalent to a man saying he going out to buy a nice car so he can impress his boy. Your boy ain't riding with you nowhere. And he don't care as long as the car runs. Who do you think drives buckets? I'll put it to you like this. I rode in cars with my boy. Didn't care what the car looked like so long as the car was mechanically sound. Shout out to my right-hand man, Carnell, and Jay Pye. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was a 78 Cutlass Supreme, I believe. Don't quote me on the car. We used to ride that car to Hamilton back and forth. The windows didn't work, leather bucket seats. And when we got to our destination, we had to put about 2 or 3 quarts of oil in that car so the engine wouldn't seize. Women don't do that because women don't want to appear like they're less than. Not for other women, but for men. The damsel in distress is okay when it can yield you something, and the damsel in distress isn't good when it can't yield you anything. Think about it. You never see unattractive women play damsel in distress. Why? Nobody's going to help them. But you'll see an attractive woman play damsel in distress, not because some other woman is going to come help her, but because she's hoping some man could come help her. All these movies they make about horror movies they make, you see unattractive women playing the lead role? No. But you do see attractive women playing the lead role. You do see other women trying to mimic the attractive women. Why? Because ultimately they want to snag that high value man or the man that they can't get that's going to help them prepare themselves to a better lifestyle. See, women aren't about providing a lifestyle for them. They want to make people think that. The same way they want to make people think that they don't dress for no man. The same reason they do all this other stuff. They primp, they prime themselves, they take an hour and a half to get ready for a date. For what if you ain't trying to impress no man? Just put on your onesie, put on your bonnet, and put on a pair of sneakers, and go on out then if you ain't trying to impress no man. See, we know that's some straight bullshit.
I mean, sometimes I go out and I can rock my my yoga pants and my sneakers and look cute. And guys think I look cute. So it's about where you're at in life and how evolved you are mentally. Because not all women dress to impress somebody else or dress for women. Like I
No, but
said,
that's
I don't dress for women. If I want to put, get some eyelash extensions and put my lipstick on, it's because I like it. I like the way I look with it. Whether
I,
somebody else likes it or whether they're impressed by it, that's you do, you do. You don't, you don't. I rock what I rock.
no, and a lot of women do. I'm not suggesting that there isn't a specific amount of women that don't do as you do. I know there is
Are you
because
talking
I see
about
them every day.
Are you talking about a certain age group, a certain ethnicity, a certain
Mm,
culture, just in general?
Just
In
in just
general.
just in
So
general.
40 you see 40-year-old women going out there and trying to impress men with their lipstick and
Yep.
the way they dress.
And that's why they wear. That's why they wear
Absolutely.
younger clothes. Look like they got on their daughter's clothes. Some of them, or trying to wear the latest trends and stuff like that. They do.
I
Let
mean,
me put.
I get that, but I mean, I guess I feel like I can look cute in anything.
Well, no, but that's why I said this specifically applies to a certain
Maybe
segment
not
of
a
women.
maybe not a muumuu. Hell, I could rock a muumuu too. Whatever.
Let me put it to you like this: take a 35-year-old woman who's in good shape, not excellent shape, just good shape, and give her a choice of two stores that she can buy a dress from. One is Lane Bryant. Let me think of a reputable store of that, and the other, um, Macy's. Where do you think she's gonna go?
It depends on her budget because Macy's ain't cheap.
Budget is not an issue. Money's not an issue.
Definitely Macy's
Why?
because they have nicer dresses and it's more quality.
Okay,
They have a larger variety.
okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's say Macy's and Saks Fifth Avenue.
I'd say Macy's. I like Macy's. I love Macy's and JC Penney. I love them.
Okay,
I don't so much like Saks.
but you have a lot of women who will go for that upper echelon of fashion because it signifies something. See, a lot of this stuff works on the subconscious. We just don't think about it. See, we always look at surface level when it comes to a lot of things, but we never delve deeper into why we do some of the things that we do. This, I'm not excluded from this. David isn't, you aren't. We, unless an individual sits down and they examine why they do certain things, they will never really begin to understand themselves. And this is why I always tell people, when you understand who you are at your core, you become so comfortable that nobody can do, say, or make you feel uncomfortable. This is why you have a lot of people, when they get around strangers, they tend to isolate themselves until they can find somebody that they vibe with. And there's nothing wrong with it. It just speaks to a level of development that adults don't have. Case in point, do you think the average black man, me or David's age, has or has ever owned a pair of Timberlands?
I don't know. Have you guys?
I have. Matter of fact, I got several in my closet that I haven't worn.
Of course.
I have some Timberlands. I rock
Yes,
them.
but what I'm talking about is the psychological part of owning Timberlands. Timberlands are not a work boot,
No.
but black men have been conditioned by what we've seen and what we've grown up with to buy them. Timberland has never. Have you ever seen the Timberland commercial? But they are very well known
Why are they well known?
because of our culture. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about the underlying reasons why we do things. I started buying Timberlands because I saw everybody else wearing them. It wasn't until I got older that I realized, I said, you know what? These are some regular work boots. Well, work boots. These are some regular boots. I haven't purchased a pair of Timberland in about 10 years. Like I said, I have brand new ones in my closet. I don't wear them because I don't feel the need to show off anymore. Same thing with in the late 1980s and the 1990s with the triple fat goose. Triple fat goose never advertised to black people. Same thing with Tommy Hilfiger. I can't say that with FUBU. FUBU was originally created for black people, but you get a lot of this urban wear. I've only owned one pair of Jordans. I will say that. They would, and I'll say this as a person who was a quasi sneakerhead. They were the worst basketball sneakers I ever put my foot in. I will tell you this: the Sons of Glove, Gary Payton was the best sneaker I have ever put my foot in, without a doubt. And I was mad when the zipper tore on them. I had to take them back, and they didn't have anymore. But getting back to the boots and the triple fat, all of this stuff becomes cultural. So if you grow up in a home, in a community, or in a culture that promotes certain things, that's what you're going to adhere to. That's what your tastes are going to be. It's like the movie Clueless, and I'm sure most people remember the movie Clueless. That group of girls, regardless of their ethnicity, had a certain way of doing things. They came from a certain culture. They had a certain look. And to get that look, you had to shop at a certain store. Now, those girls literally were checking out the other girls in their cohort to see what they were wearing, to try and one-up them. Ultimately, to get the best man that they can. Same thing in college. You go to college and you look at these sororities, and you look at these fraternities. They all have something in common.
Let me read a bunch of comments. Interesting comments came through. First one is from Marcia. She said, I don't particularly dress for other women. I am very conscious being a curvy woman of the type of attire I wear. I don't wear makeup, only lipstick, because I am very comfortable in my own skin. So therefore, I truly don't waste time trying to impress anyone. Sometimes less is usually best. And I understand that, but I'm still stuck on the impressing, because I do think that if it's someone you're interested in, you're gonna go out the way. You're gonna do something special. You're gonna do something that will catch that person's eye, or whatever case it is. You're just not gonna be, and as Herb said before, in competition with other people, especially if he's someone that, like, okay, he's like a magnet for women. Other people are interested too, but I think he gives me a little more conversation, or I've caught him looking at me. You're going to want to step up your game. You're going to want to do something to kind of solidify it. Of course, people say, nah, that's not me. I don't do it. But
no, I agree with that. I agree with that, especially if I'm single. Yeah. I want to be out there looking better than other women.
Now, let me read Mr. Smith. He said the reason you like it is because, and I guess this was something you said earlier, Anita. He said the reason you like it is because you have been conditioned to see those adornments as beautiful. And I guess he's talking about the lipstick and things of that nature. What else? Naomi, the marketer, said, I don't wear makeup and have pulled men in a sweatsuit and a t-shirt. And some people can pull men in. They don't have to have much, but it's something about that sweatsuit and that t-shirt that caught that person's eye. That they like,
do
man,
believe.
It's something.
I will co-sign that, because I've seen some women who go out when they're dressed down, if you will, and they're more attractive than some women who are dressed up. And some people will say that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, yes, it does make sense.
Some people will
Good.
because they don't understand that once a refined man gets to a point in his life where he's experienced some things, he goes beyond a superficial look. Now I could see a woman in a sweatshirt, pair of pants and sneakers, and if she speaks a certain way, I'm going to be attracted to her, not because of just her physical essence, but because she's demonstrated a certain level of mastery that I want to be around. See, we tend to get this male female dynamic, and that's the only one I can speak of. So I don't want people to think I'm isolating any type of relationships. We tend to think that men are always attracted physically first. We are not, especially as we get older. And now with a Western culture
Now you guys
devolving.
are contradicting. Now you're contradicting the other guys that always say, "Oh, we see looks first."
Notice I said when a man gets to a certain age and he's experienced certain
I
things.
noticed what you said.
Okay, so the men that you're talking about, and I'm not saying that they don't, those men have not experienced certain things. In other words, they haven't experienced a woman that where her physicality becomes number two and what attracts them. It's not wrong, it's not right, it's just where they are in their maturation process. Because I can see a female who might be a little on the heavier side or a little on the slender side versus the optimal 212, which is 36, 20, 24, 36. And if you break it down, it's 212. That becomes secondary because some of those women use their physicality to attract a man. And once you get beyond that, they have nothing else to offer.
I agree with that.
This is why you have a lot of attractive women who get older who will call men dogs because that's all they can attract. They can't attract a man who's about anything, who does anything, who goes anywhere, who's refined, who's cultured.
That's
Think
not
about it.
true.
No, I'm saying those particular women. You look. I'll put it to you like this. Put as a post. How many women think men are dogs? Just put it out there. You ain't gotta preface it. You ain't gotta do nothing else. Just put it on your. Let's put it as a post and look at the women, the responses, and how attractive they are. Because you rarely find unattractive women who call men dogs. Why? Because they're not actively being pursued for what they look like.
I don't agree with that either.
You don't have to, but
Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Some women are trash and some men are dogs. And just because a female carries herself or is in a certain economic status doesn't mean that
I never said
still
anything
don't
about
attract
economics.
dogs.
I never said
Well,
anything about.
I didn't say you did. I am
But
saying
you're
that.
taking my
You're
statement and you're
talking.
just
No, I'm not. You're talking about high value females. That what you
no,
said. That
no.
what you said like a
I
few minutes ago.
I said attractive. I said put as a post.
Rewind the tape.
I said put as a post. How many women think men are dogs? I said look at them, their age, and whether they're attractive or not, and look at their responses. You won't find unattractive women that are saying men are dogs.
Yeah, you will.
All right. Hey, like I said, run the experiment.
I mean, I ain't gonna put it on my Facebook because my girlfriends they don't care.
But why don't they
Put like
care?
that. I don't put that kind of stuff on my Facebook.
Well, put it in the
Oh, okay.
corner then.
But why don't they care?
Why don't they care? Because
Yes.
why don't they care that because they know I don't have to make the post because they know they've run into some dogs no matter how attractive they are or how they carry themselves.
But
Just
that's
like
my
just like I'm sure you guys have run into some, what do you call them? Sloppy women?
Not me. My circle doesn't encompass them.
Okay. So if you go on a date and you don't know anything about the person,
Ah, ah.
and
Would never
then
happen. Would never happen.
because you got too many
You,
cats.
100 questions.
thank you. I've been saying it for the last 6, 7 months. You don't get that invite if you're that type of woman. Those type of women don't even look at me. They don't even
Why
approach
don't
me
they? Why don't they look at you? Because
because they
do
because
they
they
think
hear
you're not attractive, or
no
because you're in some turquoise jogging pants and
no
looking raggedy?
no. It's because as soon as I speak, they realize they're not in my league.
Mm.
I don't know.
I'm
I
telling
mean,
you.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with that to a certain
I'll
extent.
put it to you like this. I used to go
Because
to a club
I
and
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'll put it to you like this. I used to go to a club in Hamilton named Roxy's. Shout out to everybody that ever with the Roxy's that might hear this. Roxy was a spot Sunday nights. And I used to dress up. I put on a suit, matching hat. And one of my homegirls walked up to me. She said, "You know what?" She said, "None of the women in here are ever going to approach you." I said, "Yeah, I know." That's because they're not equipped. See, it's not impossible for a woman to date out of her league. It's very easy. But the question becomes, how long is she going to be able to stay there? Because if
Depends
that
on,
man
how
is
mature the man is and what else he has to offer
I was just going to say that if that
besides
man is
his
a
looks.
yes, I was going to say if that man is about something, he's not going to even engage that woman. He's going to look at her and say, "Yeah, you know what, honey? I'm flattered, I'm thrilled, but you're not for me."
But even other than the physical, it's other things that women try to do to impress men.
Mhm.
Like
Um,
what?
e- even when you even sometimes if you take somebody out and they try to, and I know most women like shit. If I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. I don't care. But you know how some people try to act like, oh, they only want to eat light or a little
I
dainty
just
like
have a
that.
salad.
Yeah, and that's for him to like. I don't want him to think um greedy or anything. But any other time, I would have ordered a double burger or this and that, a bunch of stuff. But I really like him, so I just wanted to have a salad and like order something off the appetizer thing. That's trying to impress a man. Don't hit me with because I ate before I or my mom always told me to make sure that I eat before I go somewhere, so I ate before I went out. I ain't checking for that either. That's one of the ways to try to be all cute and prissy, like you don't throw back a bunch of shit, but you really do on any other given time.
I mean, I'm not the kind to go out and order just a salad, but I'm also not the kind that I'm gonna over order just so I can take half of it home either.
Oh.
I'm
I
gonna try to order portion sizes. I might have a lot left, like half of it left over because I don't eat a lot in general. And and I have heard about women that over order, like they'll order appetizer and a main entree, and then they take half of it home just so they can have another meal. Like, I think that's kind of ridiculous, actually, because if you're a self sufficient woman and you have the means to eat, then why are you going to do that? That's like using a man just to go out on a date for some food. Like, that's crazy to me. That is crazy. Like, I went on a couple dates, and we did have this conversation, and I was like, yeah, that is crazy. I agree with that. You know, so we also went
do.
on another date to somewhere else, and I paid because I'm like, don't think I'm just after you for your money, because I'm not. And he was a lawyer. He was very cultured, and he appreciated that gesture. Don't do what? No, I'm saying he appreciated that gesture. He was like all ready to pay, and I was like, no, I got this time.
No, what Dr. Dunbar is saying, don't go to the I'll pay for the dates thing as a woman, because a lot of women will flat out reject that. That's part
Well,
of the damn.
and a lot of women don't do that.
Well,
I agree. A lot of women don't do that.
there's in the next 10 to 15 years, there's going to be a significant change in the way dating is done.
Oh, it's
You
already
know,
happening.
I date very infrequently, so I really don't have a problem either way. But a lot of the women that are coming up with the notion that men should pay for first outings, or you take them to an expensive restaurant, or planned dates, them days are done.
No, they're
I
not.
mean,
No.
them days are, and that's exactly my point. That's why I said in the next 10 to 15 years.
It depends on the man. Yeah, it depends on the man and
Okay,
how they were raised, I guess.
there
Because
and
if a
there you
if
go.
a man asks me, right, if a man asks me out on a date, and I'll say like, you know, you plan the date, you pick the place, I'll meet you there, because
What if
I don't want to pick the most expensive restaurant because I'm not in his pockets like that. I don't know his budget. I'm not going to ask what he makes a year, like on our first date.
let
Maybe
me put it to
after
you
a
let me
few
put it to
dates
you like this.
we have that conversation, but
The
I don't have issues with like
the
having that gesture like, hey, I'm not after you. I'm not dating you just to get a free meal or just to get, in your pockets or go on like, ow, go to like black tie events. I can do that. I can find that like with me and my girlfriends.
Let me just say
he
that
says
it reminded me of this post I had did. It was a year ago, a couple of years ago, but it went viral. It got a lot of shares and stuff, and it was the one where the woman had ordered the think the double burger and like extra fries and a loaded potato. It was a bunch of stuff, and the guy kind of cut her off after that. Was saying because she did too much, she ate too much, so it was a turnoff. So the response that I got, it was a lot of people, no, it was some women was like, yeah, that's doing, that was too much, whatever, too damn much. And then there was some women was like, well, damn, he took her out. Now he's petty because he decided that he didn't want to date her anymore. Then it was a follow up to it. He kind of apologized, or maybe he jumped the gun, and then he said, "Lunch on me." And she did the same damn thing. Kind of ordered up steak and this and that for lunch and a bunch of other stuff. So there's, and we've had shows about this before, that sometimes dating or certain things is a test just to see.
Mhm.
And again, women say, I don't test. I don't do tests. I don't do tests. And we know that it happens with both genders, that you do certain things. I'm just going to see. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And in that case, this guy was like, okay, that was a turnoff. I'm going to give her another chance to see. And she did the same damn thing. But then
You
some
said
women
it.
tried to justify it and say, well, maybe, who knows? You don't know her situation. Maybe she was hungry. Maybe she had a hard day with her. Whatever. What the stuff that people come up with to make excuses for people actions is crazy to me.
I agree.
I, I'll be the first. I have tests, but my
We
tests.
already know that, Herb.
No. But my tests aren't the usual male tests. My tests fall within the parameters of something we do every day. So if I schedule certain things, if I schedule an event or whatever the case is, an outing, the test has already started. Biggest thing I have is, are you punctual? Because if you're wasting my time, guess what else you're wasting? my money. Those are two huge issues with me. So if you're not on time, you're telling me you don't care. Now, if you
That's
notify
not
me,
true, Herbert.
wait a minute, pump your brakes there, dearie. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be true for you. See, this is where women get things misconstrued. It has to be true for me. If you're not on time, as far as I am concerned, I don't think you care, and you're wasting my money. Doesn't care what anybody else thinks. This is where a lot of women get caught up, and they'll go to their friends, and they'll go to somebody else, and they'll say, "Well, what do you think?" It doesn't matter what they think because you're not dealing with them. You're dealing with me, or you're dealing with the individual that's sitting across from you. And the moment that women start to understand that is the moment that they will actually accord themselves better, not properly, but better. Because if you know a train leaves at 9:06, are you gonna get there at 9:10? No. Why? Because that train's gonna be gone. And see, Sister Sherazad Ali said this years ago. She said, in order for black women to respect black men, you got to leave them at least once. That's when she'll know. Sister Sherazad Ali, pardon me, said, in order for black men to get black women to listen, you have to leave her at least once. Then she'll know you're serious. See, you have a lot of women that have been conditioned by society that they can do wrong and there's no repercussion. It's not until men stop being tenderfoot and start putting that lead foot down and say, hey, look, you violated once. That's all you need to do. I'm gone. Lose my number. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't nothing. It's then that they will start to accord themselves like adults that realize that when they do something, there's a price to pay. Then a lot of the nonsense that happens on dates will stop because they realize there is no margin for error when it comes to certain men and certain things. Me, I don't play that nonsense. I'll tell you now, straight up, look, I'm gonna let you know where you stand with me.
But do they know? Do they know what is important to you when you ask them on a date? Because some men don't care about this, that, and the other, but some men do.
I guarantee you, any man that's about his purpose will tell you that he is punctual. I've never known any man that isn't purpose driven, that doesn't care about his time. Think about it. When you go to a job, what are you being paid for?
Work.
You're being paid for your time.
So he basically saying, Anita, if he tells you to meet him out at 8 and you come strolling in, and he's sitting at the bar and you come strolling in at 8:30, it's not okay. If
I
he's
mean,
even he gonna even be there.
extreme. Being a
Is it
half
re-
hour late is extreme, but
is
if
it
I'm
really?
like 5 or 10 minutes late, like,
Call.
well, yeah, that's common courtesy.
Yes,
Call,
but
I'm running late.
I agree, but you have a lot of women that won't do that because they don't think they have to. They will say, well, it's only 5 or 10 minutes. And the example I gave about the bus leaving at 9:06 and you get there at 9:10, I guarantee you they'll be there before 9:06 to catch that bus. But they don't treat the men that they're dealing with in the same way. And the biggest thing for men is respect. Respect my boundaries, respect my time, money, feelings. We kosher. But the
What do you
moment
think
you
is the biggest for women? The same thing? Because
women,
if I'm going on a couple dates with somebody trying to get to know them, and then we plan something like the next day and they don't call to say, hey, I have to work, or just text. There's guys like that too.
I don't. You will never hear me disagree. Communication for women, they claim, is always number one. But here's the catch.
It should be.
No, this is what women will say. This you
Some
ask most
women
women.
will say that.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said some, yeah, okay.
You ask women what's key to them or what's huge to them in a relationship. A lot of them will say communication.
Mhm.
Well, from what I understand of communication, communication is a two-way street. Message sent, received, you reply. A lot of women will get a message, but they won't necessarily reply. Or
Why
the
do you
reply
think
is
that is?
because they don't value a man's time.
Mm.
Think about
I
it.
can't speak on that because I just don't do that. But
No, but think about it. How often do women plan outings and they're never on time with each other?
a lot,
Why is that?
because we just run late. A lot.
You don't value time.
I
You
don't
can
think.
say you're running.
I
You
don't.
can.
I don't. I don't think that's the case. We don't value time.
Okay, so let me ask you
Like
this question.
there are some people in general that just naturally run late, and there's some people in general that they're on time or they're early.
So that's supposed to be
But
acceptable.
Yeah, like if you text and say, "Hey, I'm running 5-10 minutes late," okay. Hey, something came up. I'm be a half hour late, or let's reschedule if you don't want to wait.
that's what I'm talking about. I don't disagree that things do arise. Absolutely, things come up. You got to reschedule, whatever the case is. But when it gets to be consistent, that's a problem because let's look at it like this. Let's say I plan a vacation and we're going to Acapulco. Me and somebody else, we're going to Acapulco. The flight leaves at 9:10. I'm sitting at the house 6:30, waiting on you to get there so we can drive to the airport. And you don't get the house until 7 o'clock. We're not going to make that flight.
Depends on who's driving. If I'm driving,
We're
we're
not going.
that flight.
It's an international flight. They tell you for international flights be there at least 2.5 to 3 hours before so you can clear TSA. You can get to your gate and you can board. You're not going to make that flight. I've seen it here in Niagara Falls with people leaving to go to the Buffalo airport. Now keep in mind the Buffalo airport, absent of traffic, is only about a 40-minute drive from here. Buffalo doesn't have night flights. So generally your flights in the morning are the first ones to take off. I have people leaving here at 3 o'clock, 3:30 to get to that flight. That's what I'm talking about, planning and valuing time. You have people that won't do that, but they will complain about certain things not being ready when they're ready. Newsflash, the world doesn't revolve around individuals. The world revolves around time. This is why going back about 100 or so years, this is why before refrigeration and all of that, they made sure that the winter harvest was set. They made sure that the field was tilled for the next year's crop. And they did that before a certain date because they knew after that date it was risky. Budgets for anything are set in advance. They don't wait. Because as the adage goes, time is of the essence. That's why. Think about it. Our bodies run on time cycles, whether we like to acknowledge it or not. Most functioning women with their menstrual cycles, you get one over release every 28 days or so. Like I said, provided if your cycle runs. Heartbeat average 60 to 70 beats per minute. Blood circulates consistently. We take in a certain amount of air every time we breathe. Everything has a cycle. And in order for that to run correctly, there has to be some mechanism in there. Pacemaker, what does a pacemaker designed to do? Regulate the heartbeat. Music, rhythm, timing. This is why a conductor can stand up in front of an orchestra and hear an instrument that's out of tune because they're not on time.
Schooling you need on time.
Dance, rhythm, timing, all of that. You look at sports. Sports is about timing. Football play, timing. Basketball pass, timing.
Obviously, cooking.
and,
I bring up
and
that
you know what?
cooking.
Yes, even cooking. Because if you cook rice 2 or 3 minutes too long, or you put too much water in, it's mush.
Mm.
You don't boil your baked potatoes long enough for a potato salad. They too hard. Everything we do is about time. So if an individual is late consistently, they're telling you they don't value time. They don't have to verbalize it. Their actions are showing you. This is why people always say, pay attention to what someone does.
But a lot of people don't think like that, as in valuing somebody else's time,
Why not?
because they just never heard it presented like that.
Because they were
Like
raised in a
when I go out with somebody, I will say, I appreciate your time. Thank you. I had a good time. I appreciate the time that you set aside for this date, whatever.
Need to stop. You don't say that shit.
Oh, yes, I do.
She does.
I swear I do.
She does. I can co-sign that. I'll write the check for that.
I'm messing with you.
The reason why you, Felicia, the
A
reason
lot of people in general don't, because a lot of people in general don't feel like, I don't know, how do you say?
Well, they
Help me
feel
out
they
here.
feel
A lot of
entitled.
people-
Probably they
Not
feel like
entitled. I would say a lot of people in general don't think about telling somebody, I appreciate your time, I appreciate your help.
they feel unappreciative. Like feel like
Right.
this ain't nothing. I've done this before. Like it's no big deal. But they're not realizing that they're doing it with a different individual.
Right.
And you don't know how that person is built, and what he might have to sacrifice and decided, okay, I really want to take this woman out to get to know her. You don't know. So they look at it as he just another guy. And
Yeah.
people got to stop looking at people like just another guy or just another woman.
So many guys are just assholes.
Oh, the dog comment.
I said assholes.
Yes.
I said so many guys are assholes.
Hold on.
They
I'm
are.
not disagreeing with you.
You better not,
But
because
but what
it's true.
but what constitutes an asshole?
It's different for everybody.
Uh-oh. Now we
Again,
get it.
Hold on.
Okay.
It may be okay. In general, somebody could just come off as an asshole, like obnoxious, high on the first date, or just like on his phone, like bad manners, or just look at other women when we're on a date. I'm like, that's inappropriate. So a lot of guys don't know how to carry themselves either.
But that's what I was alluding to when I was talking about the men being dogs. Some women will call that dog behavior.
Okay.
I'm not here to classify it. I'm just simply pointing it out. And I want to address a couple comments. The reason why I use the public transportation schedule is because it's public. Everybody uses it, so it's not predicated on men, women, heterosexual, or homosexual, gay, if you will. And also, I want to address something that Tavita Gaines said. Everybody's time is valued. But the question becomes, how often do men run late for dates?
They do.
I didn't say they didn't. I said how often.
I don't know how often, but they do.
Oh, okay. Out of 100 dates, how often will a man be late? Or will men be late?
I don't know.
Give me a ballpark.
I don't know. I don't know enough about that 100 men to have an opinion.
It's 100 men.
I don't know.
It's 100 random men.
But I don't know.
Because I can give you a ballpark about women.
Okay. What?
60.
Okay.
More than half of women, when it comes to a date, they're late.
I think a lot of women just run late for everything.
Yes, this is true. But why is that?
They have so much to do to get ready. So
Yeah,
many things
we're
to do.
throwing on different outfits. We're nervous. We're like excited.
Right.
Maybe
Are
have
you trying to impress
anxiety
them? Are you trying to impress them?
with my outfit. Maybe
Okay.
like I
Okay.
don't want them to be turned off. You know, I want them to be like, okay, you really got
Newsflash for the women
interest.
that newsflash, and there you go. Been verified. She says, I'm guilty and have to do better with time. Men don't run late like we tend to.
She said, yes, these points could be valid. Um, Learning, planning, time value. No, not entitled. Okay, perhaps it is a woman's thing because I felt like that until I was told repeatedly.
Hey, I'm not gonna give you bad information. I value the fact that you guys come sit here, listen to us talk. I'm never gonna steer you wrong.
Mm.
I'm gonna give you good, sound, sage advice. Well, I could give you a few reasons why, but they may not be applicable to everybody. But let's start like this. What is your daily routine? Look at your daily routine. And anything that sidetracks you from your daily routine is something that you need to marginalize. I wake up in the wintertime, I wake up at 9:30 to get ready to go to work. That's because it takes me 20 minutes to walk to work. Yes, I do not own a car. Parenting doesn't. And I'll explain that in a moment. It takes me 20 minutes to walk to work. So I account for that 20 minutes by getting up a half an hour early. Shower, if I need to prepare lunch, I do that. I'm usually out the door by 10:30. I get to work in time for my shift to start at 11 o'clock, 11 p.m. I don't do anything that deviates from that. Anything that deviates from that puts me at risk of being late. I do not like being late. It reflects upon me personally, in my opinion, as poorly. Okay, so number one, structure your day around the things that you need to get done. Anything that you don't need to get done, put it off to the side till you get to it later.
But sometimes it's last minute plans.
Oh, hold on. She said parenting. If you have toddlers, and I consider a toddler anything to be under three, any child to be under 3 years old, I expect some things to come up. Sick, might have to make an ER run. Any of those natures, I understand. And more often than not, because of the society we live in now, an inordinate amount of that is going to fall on a woman, whether she's married, single mother, divorcee, or whatever the case is. You can't avoid that. That's something you're going to have to factor into your schedule. So if you have a child that's colicky, that routinely wakes up during the night, that cuts into your sleep, you're going to have to go to sleep earlier. You might have to put the child to bed earlier. You have to adjust to find out what works for you in your particular situation. A lot of people won't. They're rigid to the point that they are inflexible. And when you become inflexible, that's when you break.
So let me say this. So it's interesting, and we've have asked this question before. Remember the the ladies from the book, what is it, Fine and Stein,
Mhm.
the Rules Girls, the Rules book, and it was saying that what's the appropriate time to ask a woman for a date in advance. And a lot of women say, well, shit, you can ask me the day of, or whatever the case is. And so that kind of correlates to what Herb is saying, far as your routine. So that seems real sporadic. If somebody can ask you the day of, and you have a typical routine, seems like you're going to be thrown off.
Right.
So what they were basically saying, you should ask a woman at least 3 days in advance
Mhm.
for a date, whatever. So if it's a Friday or Saturday, it should be asked like on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or something like that. And but a lot of women say, "Oh, you don't have to ask me like that. If I ain't doing nothing, you can ask me." And I know some people do operate like that. What you doing? Oh, nothing. Well, let's go out and grab something to eat. And some people are capable of doing that. But then it depends on, again, knowing your personnel. If you know
Right.
someone has kids and they may need to find a babysitter, or if they're going to come correct when they go out, they just not going to throw on anything. They might want to have their hair done and all that stuff. So it kind of varies. I just wanted to throw that out there as far as what y'all thought about when should a guy ask you in advance.
For me, I think it's yeah, it does depend on somebody's schedule, but for me, I tend to be a little bit spontaneous and adventurous. So I guess, yeah, it depends on what I think is going on in my life. If I can be ready and you say, what are you doing? Let's hang out tonight. Oh, okay, we could do that. But if I have things to do, then I have things to do. Oh well. I mean, not oh well, like I'm being insensitive, but you know, everybody has different things they got to do. But if a man isn't going to be understanding about that, and he's put off by that, I think that's inconsiderate and rude right there.
Let me read this comment from C-Boy, uh, 2075. He said, I think women run late because they aren't really feeling the man. Let a woman be sexually attracted to him and watch how she behaves. Women make time for guys they like and excuses for those they don't. Mm,
No,
mm.
I don't agree with that. Why are
So
you going
you
to go
so
on a date
so
with
so so
Why are you
you
going to go
telling me
on a date with somebody that you're not?
we've been asking that question a lot of times, like what's the point of going out with someone when you know? I just posted something like that probably like a couple weeks ago. But there's no extra motivation for someone that you're attracted to and that you really want to see and spend time with. That's going to make you say shit. That's going to light a fire under your ass.
It depends on how long we've been talking.
Yeah, you dancing around the mulberry bush right now.
I mean,
No, but
regardless, maybe I have to like don't some men like take care of themselves before they go on a date? Like if the date runs after the dinner and then you invite her back to the house or she invites you back to her house, like so you're I don't
Wait a
know.
minute. Women don't invite nobody to their house after. You have to wait like 6 months before that happens. Before you can get in the house. That's what
I mean,
that's the word. That's what's being said. That's a crock of bull too. But
that's a crock of bull. I'll tell you that is a crock of bull. Now with the lawyer I was dating, like yeah, we were vibing. We had a lot of chemistry. I don't find chemistry very easily with just anybody. But then when I got to the point where I did invite him over, and then we went out to eat, went for a walk. It was nice. His car just happened to be at my house because he's not from this area, and I drove. And then we were watching like football or whatever, and I was like, okay, it's like 11:30 at night. I'm about to go to bed, and like I think he was like put off by that, like turned off by I didn't want him to sleep over. Like, dude, I'm not ready for that. I want to know that we're like headed towards something more substantial before you just think you're going to be in my bed.
But see, this is and the women on the panel at that particular time rejected the notion when I said, if you want to know how much a guy is interested in you long term, put it on the table. They thought I was crazy. They said,
No,
why
but
would a
you
woman?
can't get to know a person in
Oh,
two,
hold on.
3 dates.
No, hold on, Anita. I was talking about sex. I said, put it on the table when you first meet him, and you will know immediately. And I've always said this, and I'll stick to it. Not by his answer.
By his actions. I understand that.
Correct.
But even if you make it clear, some guys still have that hope. Like, yeah, we can hang out and watch football at my house. Like, you don't have cable, you don't have a big TV, like you don't have a oven that we can make something to eat, whatever. Yeah, but
That depends on the guy.
but then after that, like, you can't. If I say, yeah, I feel comfortable enough for you to, be in my bed, but we're not going to do anything. Sometimes things happen. If I'm too sexually,
I've never been to that school. I don't know what that school is.
huh?
I don't know what that school is. I ain't never been to that school.
If I'm too sexually aroused after our date and after watching football, you got to go.
Oh, I don't. Hey, that's fine. If those are your rules, those are your rules. I'm just saying. I personally don't go over anyone's house unless I'm a female that I'm interested in, unless I'm prepared to go that route. Same thing with me. I'm not inviting a female back to my house unless I'm prepared to go that route. That's just a standing thing for me. That's just written in there. Which is why I tend to go out on dates. I don't have a problem going to a restaurant and picking up the tab for $150, $200, date. That's just me. Some men don't like to do that because they feel like they're being taken advantage of, which is why I would tell guys, hey, vet.
Or some guys just think just because they paid that much, then they feel that the woman owes them something in return, something sexual. And that's not cool.
See what
That's
Sierra
being an
comment
asshole.
was. If I invite a man to my bed, I plan on making it bump against the wall. What's the point of being in the damn bed?
No, I get that.
What's the point? Might as well go back to your old gate, whatever. What's the
Oh
point?
wow!
No,
I wasn't expecting that.
I totally get that. That's why if I don't want to go that route, like, you gotta go.
Wow!
You ever said she trying to break headboards, whatever? Like,
No, I agree with that.
I'm serious. I don't know why. See, this is the thing about me. I don't say anything that I don't do. Okay, so I'm not up here to beat my chest. I'm not up here to sing.
Herb, you are the know all be all. We know.
No, it's not. No, I know me. So if a woman comes back
don't know
to,
all women.
I'm not speaking about all women.
I didn't say you were. I'm just making a comment. Go ahead.
I'm responding to something in the chat though.
To Herb. Go ahead.
No, I'm responding to something in the chat. I don't know if you saw it. I'm reading the comments in the chat, and I'm responding to somebody saying about me puffing my chest out. If a woman comes back here, or I invite her over, then I'm prepared to have sex.
Well, if you
Okay, I'll say,
be prepared to leave too.
Which is one of the reasons why I don't go to women's houses.
Okay.
I don't have to worry about that. If she wants to leave, she's free to leave. But if I invite a woman here, I'm prepared for it to go down. I'm not saying it will. Okay. I don't force myself on women. It's going to happen organically, or it's not going to happen. And I said, I have to go back and find this post and write this down because I was going to bring it up as a topic. Men don't plan for sex. I'll say it again. Men do not plan for sex. They hope, quote unquote, to get lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of men end up disappointed on dates when they go out and they spend whatever it is that they spend. They're thinking, oh, I'm going to get lucky. No. Why hope? Plan. Ask those questions up front.
But some guys don't. They don't even.
Hold on. I'm going to address that.
Hold on. They don't even like you, Herbert. You don't. You won't even. Well, from what I gather, my perception of what you said is if they're late or that's a turn off. You just say lose my number. Do you actually tell them what was a turn off so they can do a self check?
No.
Why?
Because they're adults.
They don't matter because
hold on. You asked me a question. Allow me to answer it. I don't correct adult. I do not correct adult behavior. I'm 50. I'm not dealing with most women under the age of 35. That's just unless it's just strictly for sex. That's not happening. At 35, I expect an adult to have certain things down pat. One of those is respect for the individuals they're dealing with, their time, and some other things. Now, the other things I wouldn't expect an individual to know. So I'm going to tell you, I say, hey, look, I don't approve of this, that, or that. I'll tell you, because those are things I don't expect you to know about me. I have my own idiosyncrasies just like anybody else. I have my own quirks. I don't expect people to know about my quirks. So I'll tell you, hey, look, I don't rock with that. Don't do that. Matter of fact, I'll tell you this one time. This happened about 6, maybe 7 years ago. Female I was feeling, she came over, caught a cab. She doesn't live too far from here. No names, of course, always. And she made an off-color joke. And I looked at her, I said, you got to go. She said, why? I just got here. And I said, you just leaving. She said, how am I going to get back home? I said, the same way you got here. I'm cutthroat. I don't play. When it comes to certain things, if you violate, you get violated. And I planned on it going down that night. But I was like,
what
you know what, you got to go.
Herb?
That was communication. The message was clear and direct.
I expect communication.
So what did she do?
If I
She
do
made
something,
a joke.
if I
She
do
made
something,
I'm sorry, hold on, Anita.
Wrong, or I say something wrong, you could just simply tell me like, I don't like that. That was off. That was a turn off. Now
I told her.
Oh, well, that's a little different.
I told her because she wasn't aware, because that's something that she usually does. I said, okay. I said, I understand that. I said, but for me, that don't go. David, you said, I'm sorry, David, your question was?
What kind of joke was it?
It was something she said that my mother wouldn't have said to me.
Oh.
So anytime you say something to me that and keep in mind, my mother, bless her soul, she was a fairly, potty mouth woman when it came to certain things. She can get down there with you if you want to. But she was also refined, so she didn't say anything that would get her in trouble. This woman said something that crossed the line. I was like, you got to go. It wasn't personal. It was purely principled. And she left. Hadn't spoke to her again after that. Some years anyway.
I agree with this comment.
Claire.
From
Newsflash.
Newsflash,
Claire. She ain't got to be my mama. That's all the more reason why she shouldn't have said what she said. See, your mother can get away with saying certain things to you. Because she cleaned
I want to know what it is now.
Because she cleans your stinky ass.
Huh?
I said, a black man's mother can get away with saying certain things to him because he cleaned his stinking ass. Every woman don't get that latitude. And this is what I was talking about earlier.
Well, look at the comment right here. And constructive criticism never hurt anybody. We are all still learning, especially if it is somebody new. Yes, I am also almost close to 50 as well. Yes, if it's somebody you're just learning, like if we go on a hold on, don't be shaking your head. I'm explaining something. If we go on a
I'm
few
listening.
dates, no, you're not. If we go on a few dates and I do something that is off-putting, like the next day, just you don't have to ghost me. You don't have to block me. You can just say, you know what? I know we don't know each other that well, but this is what I didn't like about you. And I thought it was inappropriate or whatever. That helps somebody do a self-check. Like, hey, you know what? Maybe more guys don't like that.
Anita, would you give a guy a explanation like that, or would you ghost him and not return his
No,
call
I
or
would
text
if he
or
asked
anything?
me, the next day, like I would tell him, I didn't like that about you and I don't
All
think
right,
it's going to
so
work out.
let me paint this
And
picture,
maybe
Anita.
maybe you should think about that in the future when you go on another date.
Let me paint this picture, Anita. Guy
Because
you
that's
like.
all part of personal growth. I feel like that's part of personal growth.
It
And
is.
knowing how other people perceive you. And
See,
granted, we don't know each other that well if we only been on a couple dates.
see, I
So to
got
be fair, yes, I will explain. I think it's ill mannered to ghost or just block somebody
see,
without saying like,
But I didn't
hey,
ghost her. I told her to be gone. I didn't
oh,
ghost her. I told her she got
well,
to go.
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking
Oh,
about
okay.
guys that do that.
see, I got guys being a little more understanding with the follow up process. Women, I, I see a lot of them. If they're not, if their first date or whatever didn't go well, you're probably not going to hear back from them, or they're not going to respond to anything. And if you keep following up, they're going to eventually block you or do whatever the case is. But Herb is cutthroat, so he's shutting it down.
Yeah. And this is what I was going to ask you, Anita. Let's say you go out on a date with a guy you like, you guys are vibing, and he just happens to fondle your breast and grab your ass. What's your next move?
I'm gonna slap his hand away and tell him that was inappropriate, and I'm gonna end the date.
Oh, wait a minute. You're going to do the same thing that I did, but I'm wrong.
I didn't
See how
say you
that see
were.
how that
I
works?
didn't say you were wrong. It's about how it is delivered.
But you just said you're going to end the date. I just told her she got to go. What's the
But
difference?
that's two different things.
Says who?
Grabbing my breast is is inappropriate. Like on the first date, you're not gonna grab my
This
breast.
was the first time this woman was over my house.
So you expected it to go down, and then when she made that off-color joke, you were like, had to
You got to go.
tell her to leave, and you had to take care of yourself.
No, I went to sleep.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
But see, this is what I talk about when I said what Shirazad Ali said about black men having to leave their woman once and she'll listen. This is precisely what I was talking about. See, we have a lot of men that'll tolerate subpar behavior to get sex. And when women encounter men that don't, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to behave. They say, well, I was just joking. Well, your joke went too far. That's why Chris Rock ended up getting slapped because his joke went too far. You don't know where somebody's line of
I don't even
demarcation.
know. I can't even say nothing about that slap
No,
because I
I'm
don't
just
even think it was anything derogatory.
absolutely. But my point is this: you don't know where somebody's line of demarcation is. So, in order to avoid any type of problems, stay out of there.
But
Don't
if
if you
you don't know what you don't know. So I'm supposed
hold
to be
on, hold on,
walking on
hold on.
eggshells with somebody
No, no, no,
because
no.
I don't
You
know
supposed
that he doesn't. Excuse me, he doesn't like that I'm dressed too conservative or that the way I
I'm talking
laugh
about actions.
or
I'm talking strictly about actions.
mm,
Strictly about actions.
or I asked him to leave. Like after we were done watching football.
It sounds like you need.
But
You need to tell what was actually said, Herb.
Yeah, because I'm not following.
she made an all-color joke. It just wasn't funny. I just didn't find it funny. I found it in poor taste. Like I said, my mother wouldn't have said it to me.
Like,
And I looked at it, I was
tell
like,
us what it is now. I'm
no,
curious.
it's immaterial. But
It ain't
like I'm.
immaterial to the conversation.
Oh, okay. No, well, too bad. So sad. So sorry.
Mm,
But like I said,
okay.
when men start to say, okay, you know what? The sex that I would have potentially got is not worth me lowering my principles, changing my principles. When men start to do that, men will have to worry less about females approaching them with some off-color behavior because they will realize, you know what? If I fuck up and say or do the wrong thing, I could be out the door. See,
Then you
that's
got
the
somebody
one.
walking on eggshells because they don't
It's
know.
not about walking on that.
Yes, it is.
Since when is decent human behavior been about walking on eggshells?
She might have thought it was a funny joke. That's why obviously she said it.
Okay,
She didn't
let me
say
put
it
it
because she thought it was gonna offend you, obviously.
let me put it to you like this.
Because she was
Let me put it to you like
obviously
this.
in the house for a reason.
She wouldn't have said that to a coworker. You know why? Because it could have gotten her fired. That's all I did was I fired her from the position she was going to occupy. That's it.
Okay. All right.
I didn't strike her. I didn't call her out her name. I just said, you know what? Your services are no longer needed. Goodbye.
Services.
Yes.
Now we
Your
got her
services were no longer
paying
needed.
for some services.
Goodbye.
I agree with this comment. Okay, so say that was in poor taste, but you didn't have to be rude. That wasn't her intention. I agree.
Hold on, wait a minute. See, this is the cognitive dissonance that women operate with. And I'm gonna point out the hypocrisy in 30 seconds.
Wait, hold on. Before we give you 30 seconds for your rebuttal,
Mhm.
I have to address the.
No, are you reading the
Hold
comment
on.
that's are you reading the comment that's posted? Because that's
No.
what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm talking
You have
about
to read the
something
comment
else.
that's posted.
I read it.
Okay.
I'm talking about something else that I didn't address that was addressed to me. I'm gonna address that first.
Okay.
Okay, because I didn't address it. So I think it was Neely. I didn't really see the name. Said, Anita, do you have to have chemistry with somebody for them to sleep over in my bed? Yes, I do. Because if we're gonna get busy and I'm gonna get freaky, yeah, I need to have some chemistry with you. Anyway, that's all I wanted to address.
When Anita said that the date would be over if the man found her, it wasn't rude. But if I tell a woman to leave my house,
different. That's like
hold on.
That's like a sexual advance. Like you don't know.
Hold on.
And you know, a man knows for a fact that that's inappropriate behavior. The woman that said whatever joke she said obviously didn't understand that it would offend you.
It wasn't that it was offensive to me. It was just something she shouldn't have said. Women have to understand innately that society grants women a whole lot of leeway when it comes to certain things said and done that men are not afforded the opportunity to do.
Like what?
Case in point. If you grab a man's ass, he's more than likely not to say anything. Not because he likes it, but because society's not going to say anything.
So if I grab a man's ass, he's not going to like it?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this. If a man grabs a woman's ass, it's sexual assault. If a woman grabs a man's ass, society's not going to say anything. They're going to look at him like, what, you gay? It's a compliment. Not if I don't want her to grab my behind. Also,
sometimes that's inappropriate
too. It's not about the sometimes. 100% of the time, if a man grabs a woman's ass and she's not interested, it's sexual assault. He could be arrested. If a woman does it, more than likely she's not going to be arrested.
Probably not going to be arrested.
But this is what I'm talking about. The society gives women the leeway to do certain things that men can't do. So when a man,
that's what he said, right? Or is it Marcia or Marcia?
Marcia.
Yeah, Marcia. Right? That's what he said. Services. So
call girl.
We're stuck on services now.
Hey, that's fine. She was going to service me.
Wow.
Herbert turned down some services for a joke.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of men wouldn't do that.
But that's my point. See.
I understand your point, Herbert.
Herb, you got us on the string, man. You got us on the string. People want to know what the hell was said. It was like 6-7 years ago. You're not saying any names.
I know, 7 years ago. You talk about 7 years ago. When you were, 43?
Yeah.
You remember that far ago? Okay.
I just bought my house like a year or two prior. Yeah, I hadn't been here long.
And that was the first woman gonna rock your world with her services in your new house.
Well, generally I'm first, so I'll make the bedrock, but that's a different topic for another time.
You're stuttering. I don't know about that. You stuttering.
I didn't stutter. I said I'm Fred Flintstone, so usually I make the bedrock.
So Sierra said she was at your house. It was a personal relationship. Work rules do not apply to a personal relationship. How was she to know you had a stick in your ass?
I know, right? I agree. Claire, I agree.
We want to know the goods, Herb.
We want to know.
People are missing the correlation.
No, people aren't missing the correlation.
Yes, they are.
No, people are getting the correlation.
No, because the point is that no matter who you're in a relationship with, whether you're dating, having casual sex, or you're married, if you say something wrong or that puts that person in a particular mind frame, the whole works gets shut down. You can't tell me that.
How difficult is it just to communicate? Hey,
let me ask you this question.
Like, that's one of my boundaries.
Let me ask you this question. How many times has a married woman got mad at her husband for saying something and he didn't get sex that night?
What was that? Can you say that?
How often has a married woman had something said to her by her husband and she said, you know what? I don't like that. No sex tonight.
I don't know.
It happens often. We're talking about married people that supposedly know each other.
It depends on what was said.
But that's my point.
Money on the credit card shopping, I'm like, okay.
We're still
getting busy tonight.
But that's my point. See, women are afforded
out the whipped cream and decorating my toes with whipped cream and Hershey syrup.
But that's my point.
Here we go with the toes again.
we afford women to shut down sex for whatever reason they want to, but men can't do it.
Men do it.
But why am I being questioned? But why am I being questioned about work relationship and personal rules?
Because that don't have anything to do with anything.
So Herb, you just was really not into her like that.
It's not whether or not I was into it. The point is that you can't say some things to me and I'm going to be okay with it. I don't care who you are. I put God out my house. God say the wrong thing to me.
So Shadow never said the wrong thing to you.
Who? Shadow knows better. Shadow knows better. Chip does, Paul does too. I'll put them all out. You got to go. I'm a king here. I'm a benevolent dictator. You do right by me, I'll do right by you. But the moment you get out of line, you get hammered. Bye. You got to go.
That's harsh.
No, it's called reality. And far too often women are shielded from reality.
No.
People do not want to acknowledge the fact that women are shielded a large part from reality. And this is something, and I don't want to bring her name up, but unfortunately I have to. There's a podcast out there called pearly things. This is one of the things she was talking about on one of her shows about how women are shielded from the repercussions of their bad decisions.
What type of specific bad decisions?
Okay, a woman
I make
chooses
a
a
lot of
piss.
bad decisions every day. So,
A woman has
because I'm not
has
perfect. That's
it
why.
has nothing to do with being perfect though. A woman chooses a piss poor man to have a father with. I'm sorry, to have a father with, to father her child. She gets medical assistance, financial assistance, housing assistance.
Oh, this again, Herb.
Hold on. You asked a question.
Okay.
Just answering it. But if a man picks a piss poor woman to have a child with, he's faced with child support and potentially jail.
Jail, like why?
Jail, child support payments. He's in arrears. Take his
Then he
driver's
shouldn't be
license.
in arrears.
But you see how you went to he shouldn't have been in arrears to she should have picked a better man.
I
Fell
didn't
right
say
into
she
the
should have
trap,
picked a better
and I
man.
opened it up for you.
I didn't say she should have picked a better man.
That's my
I
point.
say if me and you lay down, Herb, and we're fucking, okay, and we decide, what happened, and I get pregnant, okay, what are you gonna do? Some
That,
men stay, some men don't.
but,
In the
but
heat of the moment, things happen, okay?
but my point is this.
And if a man is that concerned over child support, then he should have they should co-parent. They should get some co-parent counseling. They should both have joint custody, depending on
Most women are
what.
not going to opt for joint custody.
See,
I don't know.
yeah, just took it to a whole,
I know we did, right?
complex thing when we were still focused on something that this young lady said, and she got the boot.
She was old enough to know better. Let's put it like that.
Obviously, she didn't think it would be offensive to you, or she probably wouldn't have said it because she thought she was going to get some.
Yeah, did you jump the gun a little bit, or you was comfortable with that?
Whatever.
Decision?
Yeah, I never jumped the gun.
Was she undressed at least?
It wouldn't matter.
Dressed or undressed?
It wouldn't matter. I made a female get out of my bed. Y'all don't. When I say I'm cutthroat, I mean I'm cutthroat.
We are.
Okay.
That's why you're single and 50 and never been married. Okay, that's fine.
Listen. Y'all don't understand that when they set up the trays in the operating room next to the scalpel, that's where I am.
So that's why you're 50 and single and never been married.
I've never been married because I don't want to get married. I've never been married because a woman's never asked me to get married.
Okay, just like a lot of women never asked you get. Okay, just like you guys always talking about, oh, a woman's 40, 45, 50 and she never been married. It must be something wrong with her. Well, why can't we use the same defense, Herbert? We don't want to get married. We don't want to get married. We don't want to have a man in the house. If we want to get pregnant, we can. We can use adoption, a surrogate. We can just, if it happens, it happens. If I want a baby, I'm going to have a baby.
You can do all of that.
Okay, well then everybody on the everybody in the counselor's corner needs to understand, just because a woman's not married and she's self-sufficient doesn't mean that she's a bad woman.
Who said anything about her being a bad woman?
You're talking about a few select individuals in the counselor's corner, and that's their
stance. I get it.
Okay, I was gonna say I've never said that.
But a lot of other men just go right along with it. All right, I'll be right back.
Claire, she said, I've been married 16 years and will not do it again. Well, Claire, you're talking about revisit your date invite. You want to go in with the approach. What is with the approach?
Yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, geez. Juicy Four says this. It's about what each party wants. What men want is completely different from what women want. A lot of women say men are impotent if they don't have any baby mamas. That's an interesting statement because I've heard that before too. Or they think you're gay. Why would you get married again, Claire? Curious.
Firing off.
What's wrong with going to see a Broadway play? And want somebody to accompany him with? I'm not seeing a problem.
People change.
Divorce allows people to walk away. That's why they have no fault divorce now.
Claire should have just joined the panel.
Yeah.
Come join. We got plenty of room. I do want to and it's still going to piggyback on that. I do want to, since we simplified it to 2 talking points, I do want to get to this second talking point, and that was like a carryover from last week. And here's the question. Why does it seem like there is an age requirement for women to hold her man down if necessary? And what I mean is financially. Because one of the things that was proposed in my group, it's called the Counselor's Corner on Facebook. It was a question proposed about a guy needing whether he had a career change, whether he decided he wanted to go back to school. And it was like, would women be willing to support him during that time? And a lot of things were said was, okay, how old is this guy? Is he 40, 50? Pretty much he should have been did that. He should have been did that shit. I don't have time as a 40 or 50-year-old woman to be holding stuff down when it's something he should have did a while ago. But with men, when women have this this idea or vision, men are supposed to accept it no matter what, and kind of, okay, I gotta work extra hours, I gotta pick up another job so that she could see through her vision. But women are not willing to do that, and it seems like it's a certain age requirement that they will be willing to do it, but once they get into late 30s, 40s, 50s, it's not going to happen.
Damn, you're starting this conversation without me. I gotta let my dog out.
We ain't going nowhere. This conversation will be ongoing. It's more what
Because
society.
what I said in my post is people have different stages in their life and they change careers with personal growth, or they just like to do something different. Hell, yeah, I would hold my man down. Like, why not? We're building an empire. All right, I gotta let my dog out. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Society, women have still yet to emerge from 18th, 19th century thinking in terms of what a marriage is. So when you come up under that umbrella and you continually feel that men should be the breadwinners, then you're not going to change that because it's an easier way for you to behave. So when it's an easier way for you to behave, nobody wants to do something that makes their life more difficult. And that includes having to hold the man down while he switches careers, because that means you're going to have to foot more of the economic burden that the household presents. Women are not conditioned to do that. So when they have to step into a role that's a more masculine role, if you will, they balk at it. It's not wrong, it's not right, it's just what it is. You find that more of those situations tend to lead to either an unhappy marriage or eventually divorce. And we talk about this is this is really discussed ad nauseum in the black manosphere. The fact that the higher up a woman goes in terms of her economic earnings, the more difficult it is for her to find a suitable mate. Because no matter how much money she makes, she wants a man that makes at least 30% more. So if you find a woman that's making $250,000 a year, she wants a man that's making 300,000 because she wants to live a certain lifestyle. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem comes in two ways. One, is she that type of woman that that man wants? And two, can she actually find a man that she is going to be agreeable with to allow him to leave? Because once a lot of women start to make that money, they feel like they can do what they want. Nobody can tell them what to do. They have their own money, their education, yada, yada. We've heard it ad nauseum. So now the question becomes, can she play the role?
And Sierra made a point, and I think this is another thing that's big too, that I think women are angered at the fact we're supposed to contribute 50% financially, but are still expected to do 100% of the household duties.
One of those nasty little things that I personally I don't get caught up in. But I think most women, at least our age, for better or worse, we do housework. Especially when you factor in the fact that most of us are single, we cook, we clean. So doing housework is really not above us. It simply isn't. And when you factor in that the average man is actually cleaner than what most women think. Because I remember one time in college, I had a female come by my dorm room. She looked in, she said, "Is this your room?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "It's clean." I said, "Is it supposed to be?" She said, "Yeah, but who cleaned it?" I said, "I keep it clean." She said, "No, no, I don't believe you." She said, "Does your mother come up here?" I said, "No." She said, "You got a girlfriend or female friend that cleans it?" I said, "No." We're at the point now where a man with a clean home is looked at with such a skeptical eye that it's like it can't be possible that a man could actually be well spoken, clean cut, and runs a nice household. It's crazy to me how men are typecast in one way, and that's it. I don't get it, but I understand that that's what it is, and unfortunately, we're gonna be stuck with that for a while until there's a complete role reversal in terms of genders, and we're on that road. We are definitely on that road.
So when they say that they're doing all the household duties, it kind of nullifies that men don't do anything. They may do yard work. They may take out the garbage, anything going around the house. They may fix or whatever the case is. It's certain things. If you got two boys, or say if it ain't you don't have any girl children and it's boys, more than like they're taking them to the barbershop, they're taking them to practice and stuff like that. So, and not all big, we all know it varies on different job positions and stuff like that, but the image portrayed is like guys, they work and then they just on the couch with their hands behind their head and they don't do anything after that, and women are working and slaving and all of that stuff. So I think the images that's put out there kind of make things make things seem like like it's a disadvantage or advantage one way over the other.
Hey man, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, so it's I'm trying to reply to people who just come in, but I don't I don't know. I mean, I don't know if as many guys and they just don't do like, oh, I didn't work all day, I ain't doing shit. Like I'm sure, especially if there's mutual love, that they're doing extra stuff. They're doing extra stuff. And maybe their income is higher and it's really not a 50-50 split. And I think that's where I see the issue. It may seem like it's 50-50, but it's really not.
I can speak from this perspective. I am one of eight males in my family. All of the males that in my family, we cook. The ones that had kids have changed diapers, cleaned the house, have fed their kids. Why? Because they were brought up that way. No matter what they do in terms of work, and I have some brothers who actually put in some hours on the job. And when I say some hours, I'm not talking 40, I'm talking 50 and 60 hours. They come home and they parent. They come home, they keep the house in order. When I say they keep the house in order, I'm not just speaking of discipline. They also go out and do any repairs that the house might need. I'm in the process of repairing my garage roof. They cut the lawn. They shovel the snow. A lot of women don't consider those things until they actually have to pay for them or do them themselves. See, those are things that are always they're not underscored when it comes to the home. So we only hear about the interior. We only hear about cleaning up the house, cooking, cleaning. I come from a time and place where you clean up after yourself. So if the individuals in the house clean up after themselves, as a woman, you shouldn't have much to clean. You might have to clean the bathroom. You might have to wash dishes. If you get kids that are old enough, you teach them how to wash dishes. You're cooking. You're not washing dishes. You might have to do the laundry. But if you get kids that understand, you know what? Hey, when it's laundry day, you bring yourself down. I'll wash it, I'll dry it. You take it upstairs and you fold it. A lot of those things have been lost. Because I remember I was like 14, 15 when I started doing my own laundry. Because my mother was like, you old enough to reach the knobs. I'm going to show you how to do this. This is what you do. So since then, I've been doing my own laundry. That's 30 some odd years. I have only had my laundry done by a woman since that age once. And that's because we were living together. Other than that, I cook for myself. I clean for myself. I maintain my own home. As a matter of fact, I don't let anybody else clean my house because I'm so meticulous about how I want my house clean. And I know a lot of guys that are like that. But those guys I never talked about because they go against the story. They change the narrative.
So Juicy said at Gaines Trevita, I wouldn't because I don't. The only reason to get married is to start a family. I'm family oriented, so I need someone that could take care of the children while I pay for everything. And some people, that's how they like it, and then some people want to get empower people because you also understand that a lot of times, if men were paying for everything and women had to do all that stuff, they're not going to be satisfied. A lot of women say, "Hey, if I didn't have to work, I'll do this, I'll do that, and I wouldn't complain." But they'll get bored with that after a while. They'll get bored and they'll say, "I want to make my own money. I want to be able to get out. I don't want to have to. I need to get away from the kids and stuff like that." It'll be something. So my thing is like, you be damned if you do, you be damned if you don't. Like it just depends on those individuals that you're with and their upbringing and what will work for them. But even when I look at as a woman holding you down, I don't know how much I would be able to take of that. I wouldn't feel right, and I would say, "Damn, I have to do something equal. I have to find something." I just couldn't. It wouldn't feel right to me.
Uh, most men that are, like I said, most men that are about their business, they're going to do something. They're not going to be content with watching a woman run around and do everything. And then you have those that don't. This is, why we tell people, hey, vet, sit down and ask those questions. Sit down and figure out what it is that you want from the individual, what you need, more importantly, than what you want. Because sometimes what we need is more important than what we want. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. And I'll say it again. What we need is more important than what we want. So if you need somebody who's going to be a positive reinforcement, they're going to help you with your self-confidence, tell them that. We have a lot of people that are afraid to be vulnerable, if you will, with their shortcomings. And I'll be the first to say it. If you're trying to address your shortcomings, the only way you can do that is by putting them on the table. Say, hey, look, I fall short in this category. If that's going to bother you, then let's go our separate ways. Because that's something I'm working on trying to fix. Are you willing to help me address that? And if an individual says yes, then they go in full well, knowing that, hey, look, this is something she's trying to address. Now, the other side of that is this. Are you making progress? Because if you're telling me something and you're not making progress, then all you're doing is offering me lip service, and I don't have time for lip service. I want to see consistent progress to that goal. That lets me know that you are serious about whatever it is that you want to improve. We got some people that say, hey, they want to lose weight, but every time you see them, 12 o'clock at night, they got some Oreo cookies and a glass of milk. You're not trying to lose weight then. You ain't serious. You say, hey, let's go for a walk. No, I'm tired. You're not trying to lose weight. Hey, let's jump rope for about 10 minutes. No, I don't like to jump rope. You're not trying to lose weight. I do. Well, you know what? You're right. You don't got to kick them out. You just walk out. I leave. I'm sorry. I don't have time for people who going to bullshit me. And yes, I'll throw people out my house. Sorry. It's the way, there's the rules. It's the principles.
Are people straightforward with telling their shortcomings? Or does it take a while to build into that of someone that you trust, that you know it's not going to be no repercussions or pot shots thrown at you for you admitting your shortcomings?
There's always that danger, but this is what I'll speak from my perspective personally. Anyone, don't matter who it is, you can only say one or two things about me. Either you can tell the truth or you can lie. The truth I'll readily admit. Lies I don't even address. But I'm comfortable enough with myself. And I think that's what a lot of people have to start doing, is they have to get comfortable enough with themselves to allow the truth to be what guides them. And personally speaking, what I found out is that when you embrace the truth, not your reality, not your truth, but the truth, nobody can weaponize that against you. If somebody comes up to me and says, you know what, you fat, I say, you know what, you're right. I'm about 255 pounds. I look like I'm about to give birth. I'm still trying to find out the woman who impregnated me. All of a sudden now that person has nothing to say because I've admitted the fact that I'm overweight. Then I ask them, what else you got to say? I'm curious to know what else you know about me. And right there, they're disarmed. So as opposed to looking like the bully, they look like the fool. And I think far too often people don't embrace that role that they have in their life. You are the captain of your own ship, especially as an adult and a person over the age of 30, 35. You are the captain of your own ship. So whatever you want to do in life, whatever you want to accomplish in life, put yourself on a path to do it. Because at the end of the day, you are going to have no one else to blame or to thank but yourself. Everything that you do starts with you. You say you want to be in better shape. Start getting in better shape. You say you want to earn more money. Put yourself in a position to where you can earn more money. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how you do it, so long as it's legal. But do that. We have too many people that like lip service, but when it's like my man used to say, when the rubber hits the road, that's when you find out who's down. Some people aren't down.
Anita, you got anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, personally, like, I need to feel comfortable with somebody before I expose myself and feel vulnerable enough to have that conversation. And that's just me. Because, I mean, true, at the end of the day, I got to look at myself in the mirror and deal with my decisions. But also, when I'm with somebody, it's not something I want to talk about, in the first few dates.
But why not, though?
I'm still trying to get to know somebody, like, and see if I actually like them, for them to know all my business like that.
And I think, and that may be the issue with some of the things, because when you're trying to get to know someone, you're always trying to talk about the better half of yourself, but no one's gonna say, "Man, yeah, I got anger issues, or I'm stubborn as hell. I'm a jerk." That's one of the things I always say. I'm a jerk. I got jerkish ways, but it's not trying to be malicious or harmful, but it's just being stuck in my ways, and more so being stubborn about certain things. Are you able to say those certain things that when it comes back, they'll say, "Shit, he told me that from day one. It doesn't shock me. I'm okay with it. I got used
Yeah,
to it. I adapted to it because
right,
he said it from day one."
right.
Instead of him portraying this certain thing, then all of a sudden you say, "Damn, this he's an asshole." Like Anita said, he's an asshole, or he's a jackass, or whatever the case is. But when you let him know, that's how I am sometimes. I am like that. I mean, because it seems like people are always talking about perfections on dating, like all the good, but no one ever wants to talk about the bad, or whatever the case is, or their upbringing, or different things that happen. Maybe trauma. I mean, you don't want to dump that on well, some people say, hell, get it all out there. You don't want to. I highly doubt if that would happen like on the first date or something. But I think between different conversations over a certain amount of time, some of that stuff will be put out there.
Well, yeah. I
But
mean,
see,
I admit to somebody that I'm not perfect, but who is perfect? I have my shortcomings, but I'm not gonna tell somebody every little detail at first. I tell them certain things, like what my goals are, where I'm at in life. If they like it, they like it. If they can work with it, they can work with it. If not, well, you not the one for me. Or maybe we can just hang out as friends, like not be nothing serious.
I think it's the fear of being too open. If I can, I don't want to say exposed. I think us too open. The one thing we fear as people is having something that happened in our past used against us. especially when we put ourselves in a vulnerable state. And I used to feel like that. For a while, I never told anybody I was a foster child. I rarely used to mention I was a high school dropout. Now, me, sometimes I'll lead a conversation with those because what I found out is that it's empowering. And what I mean by that is this. When people tend to look at black men, they tend to look at us as if we can't do anything right. They tend to look at us if all we are. Say it again.
Who's they?
Society.
Okay. That's a social construct.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Why do you say that?
Society.
Why do you say it's a social construct?
Because that's not. Because it is. Not everybody is like that.
I said society, not everybody. Society.
Okay. Not everybody in society thinks like that.
When I say society, I'm talking about the consensus opinion. The consensus opinion of black men is that we're poorly educated, we don't work, we're out here producing kids, and if we're not in the sports, then we're not productive members of society. That's what society has been brainwashed into believing. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. That's the consensus perspective. This is why you have all the stuff that's going on with Kyrie Irving and Kanye West. This is why you have all the Black Lives Matter nonsense that goes on. Notice, Black Lives Matter is never there when the issue is black on black crime. They're only there when it's black versus Caucasian people crime, usually police officers, because they want to prey on the ignorance of people, leading them to believe that black men are out here just being killed indiscriminately, regardless of the millions of police interactions that happen between minority males and police officers that have no adverse reactions. In other words, if it's a ticket, they're issued a ticket and they're going about their business. That's what society is conditioning people to believe. And now it's coming out, especially with the advent of more interracial relationships, whether they're black female, white male, Caucasian male, or Caucasian female, black male, or Hispanic, or whatever the case is. We're starting to see that all the stuff that people have been fed all the things that people have been fed are erroneous. Just like a decade ago, you used to hear the talk about black men being bad parents until a report came out by the CDC. Notice how you don't hear that deadbeat black men anymore, because the information is starting to filter out slowly and is starting to push back against the narrative. So you no longer hear about deadbeat fathers. You no longer hear about fathers abandoning their children, because now the divorce rates are coming out and we're finding that women are divorcing more than men. So when I talk about society, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the information that used to be thought of as relevant and accurate until more information comes out. And we're gonna continue to see how all this is coming out now. We talked about last week about the lack of African American male sperm donors. So now you don't hear that ardent crowd about, I don't need a man coming from the upper echelon of black female earners. Notice how all that talk is starting to fade. Now we see how black males' politics or black male political agenda is starting to get traction. Pay attention to the election in Georgia for governor. If Stacey Abrams don't win, watch who gets the blame. They've been targeting black men ever since she lost her first bid. with salacious commercials and all that other nonsense. And black men aren't biting. So now that they can't shame us, now that they can't control us, they're forced to deal with us on a level. And that's something that they can't do because they don't know how. They've never had to learn. This is why I don't teach adults, because their parents should have taught them. And if you get to be my age and you're still doing things that run afoul, I'm going to put you back out on the street. I don't have a use for you. If you didn't learn it, I'm not going to teach you.
Wow. There's a lot. So, as you can see, I don't want to keep us going on too much longer. But as you can see how the conversation goes, and one concept builds off of another concept, and we'll never have the final conclusion to these conversations because they have to be something that has to be constant and continue on and on. And just like with certain situations, when you think about Black Lives Matter and these different things, some of the things is based on like a emotional something upsetting or something that kind of gets everybody riled up. It could be a death or something like that, and everybody's on it, and everybody's saying stuff on social media that that's the talk at the water cooler and all these different things. But then once it dies down, and no one talks about it again. To the next one. These conversations have to continue over and over and over on a regular basis. And then in time, people will start doing something about it because at a certain point, people get kind of like desensitized to some of the conversation, like, here we go again. Here we go again. I don't even want to hear it no more. And they just, say to themselves, I'm just going to focus on myself and my immediate family. And I think a lot of times that's what really happens. But then again, does it really happen when we look at our neighborhoods, our communities, and things of that nature? And I don't know. We got a lot to worry about. We got a lot to worry about, and I seem like a lot of our focus is always on celebrities and people of that nature that's kind of well off. And no, of course, no matter if they do anything, that information is going to travel and people going to be all over it. But we have our own internal issues that go on a day-to-day basis that we keep sweeping under the rug and not paying attention to because we too caught up in people that has net worths of 100 million, 200 million dollars, or whatever the case is. Shit, we just trying to live. So we're gonna get some closing comments, and then we're gonna get up out of here. I don't have work tomorrow, so that's a good thing. Election day, so
It is. Yeah.
that's a whole nother story. So I'm not gonna even get into that. But closing comments on what was discussed today on these two subject matters. Anita, ladies first.
I don't even know what to say. I'll say that I think how I dress and I go out depends on how I feel that day. Unless I'm going on a first couple dates, then of course I want to look appropriate and presentable. But as far as like dressing for other women, no, I don't do that. I dress how I feel makes me feel good. And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay.
Now I got to go. So,
All right.
good night. Good night.
Good night.
Take care.
Got to put that garbage out. Garbage day tomorrow.
Yeah,
Got to
fun.
get my hands dirty. Get the garbage out.
All
right.
Take
Good night.
care.
Take care.
All right.
I was fortunate enough to meet somebody this past weekend. Her name was Ruth. I do not know her last name. It was an inadvertent comment. Let me not say inadvertent. It was a comment that I overheard while she was speaking to my coworker about something, and I didn't really know how to process it because she was talking about, the way she said it was if it was a finite thing. And that's what I said to her. I said, you said that like it was a finite thing. She said, well, it is. I said, finite as in like that's it? She says, yes. I have terminal cancer. 63. She has a bucket list. Niagara Falls is on her bucket list. She colon cancer. And for those of you who are longtime listeners of the show, you know my mother had colon cancer, but she survived. She passed a few years ago. And her and I got to talking about a couple of things. Two of the things that I told her about was she was writing her memoirs, and she's what's the Elton John song from The Lion King? Circle in the Wind, I think it is.
Circle of Life or something. Yeah.
Circle of, yes, thank you, Circle of Life. And she said, that's what I'm going to name it. I said, hey, there's an Elton John song, that's the same title. And for those of you who are Matchbox 20 fans, or more specifically, Rob Thomas fans, he wrote a song called 3 a.m. He was with the group then. There's an acoustic version on YouTube, and he gets behind the meaning of the song. Absolutely, for me, one of the most, personally speaking, for me, one of the most moving songs I've ever heard, especially when I understood the connotation and the meaning behind it. So I encourage all of you, who are listening to go check that out. Make sure it's the acoustic version. He does it live. And to also get your medical checkup, especially brothers of you who are in your 40s, get your colon cancer screenings. Get your prostate screenings done. Those are two cancers that are very curable if they're caught early. All right? I want your brothers to understand, hey, it's uncomfortable having a doctor stick his hand up your ass. I'm going to tell you now, it's not comfortable. I've had it happen twice. But if it saves your life, then it's worth about the 30 seconds of uncomfortability that is going to bring you. Because I assure you, you do not want to be in a hospital having yourself cut open. It's not a pretty thing. I've seen it firsthand. So, with that. And as far as the topics, women are going to do what they want to do. Women are going to say what they want to say because they don't have to be held accountable. So if a woman is telling you she dresses for other women, my advice, you probably don't want to be around her because she's not going to take anything you say with a grain of salt. If you want her to wear something that pleases you, she's probably not going to wear it, let alone let you take her shopping for it. I've been fortunate enough, to deal with women that allow me to pick out their clothing, but I have good taste in clothing. So I'll tell you, men, understand what it is that you like on a particular woman. I like women in dresses, skirts. You don't have to be busting out at the seams, but you have to look attractive enough for me. So men, develop your palette in clothing, colors, fabrics, patterns. Ask those questions. Ask her if she would like for you to arrange a date and lay out her clothes. There's nothing wrong with that. And if she runs afoul of you in any way, don't be afraid to jettison her ass outside. You want respect, you got to demand it from day one. The moment you don't is the moment you start to compromise your principles. And as a man, when you start to compromise your principles, you never get them back. All right. And of course, as always, growth and understanding occurs in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time.
All right. In my closing comments, I'm gonna focus on the first one again. The lies being told. I don't do anything to impress. We all know that we do. We won't sometimes won't admit it, but I know like I said earlier, for me, it's always about representing yourself well, but making sure that you try to stand out above others. And we live in a copycat society that any given time you can look and you're like, damn, everybody's looking the fuck alike. And sometimes you have to dig deep and try to do something different. And it may start off for yourself, but yet you still want to be noticed by others. It may be a special person that you want to be uh, noticed by others. You might have to go through that, but you have to be conscious of that. But to say, oh, like you blocking out whole genders or other people and everything is for you, if that's the case, why take your ass out? Stay home, look in the mirror, uh because nothing else matters. You're kind of um invisible to others because nothing they say or the looks does anything for you, which again I feel like is a crop of bull. I mean, I think once you're comfortable with who you are, your presence can stand alone, but you have to find creativity in what you do as far as that. But again, we all try to impress others. We do it on a daily basis. At the job, we're doing it. We want to stand out. You want to stand out. Some people don't give a damn, and that's fine. And you can have people that stand out and they don't give a damn, but it's just the way you go about it. But to be able to shut down that notion and say, "Oh, I don't do this or that," I think you're still at stage one. And I think you need to realize that I am doing this for a reason
Mhm.
other than myself. And I think once you recognize that and feel comfortable with that, then you'll see the progress. So that's all we have. That said, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks all the great participation in the chat tonight. It's never too late to share the broadcast. Please subscribe and let's keep pushing forward with these conversations. They're not too painful. We learn a lot. We're not going to agree with everything. We're going to have different perspectives, but it's all about having respect for what other people, their experiences are, and then kind of chime in and then giving your experiences. So, everybody, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your week. Uh, if you're not, if you're on Facebook, join the Counselors Corner. Hey, join it at your risk. You're gonna get a lot. You're gonna get a lot of backlash, a lot of different things, but that's fine because again, there's no growth unless you feel uncomfortable in certain things. And I just had to tell some of my students that whatever you don't grow unless you feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
People when people say, "Oh, when they think they do everything perfect," then what's the strive for? What's the strive for? You have nothing to work towards because you feel like you already do everything right. So it's you got to find flaws and you got to work on those things, and that's what growth is about. So that's what these conversations about. None of us. I'm not no relationship expert. Herb, he's not a relationship expert.
Right,
Only
right,
thing we
right.
can speak on our experiences and some of the things, some research and all that stuff. But the bottom line, a lot of it comes from our experiences, and we just feel like, hey, we got to talk about these things. So with that said, we out. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week. Again, join the Counselors Corner. Subscribe to the Controversial Counselor channel on YouTube. Like, share the video. We'll see you next time. We out. Peace.
What?